I am Gladys Kolenovsky, and I am all in with Wilshire Baptist Church. To me, that means that the history of this church has in many ways shaped who I am today. It means that I am committed to investing and being transformed by the church today. And I am compelled by the vision for this church for tomorrow. There is so much that brings me joy about Wilshire Baptist Church today. And one of the most powerful for me are the personal stories from you. It has been such a joy to expand the Wilshire members that I've gotten to know, because in your stories, I see that God has worked in your life and continues to work in your life, and I recognize that I am surrounded by God's hand working together through us to form this church, Wilshire Baptist Church. I'm also excited about a church that sees God's hand in our strengths and our gifts, and not only encourages us to serve where those strengths and gifts will be utilized, but provides an amazing array of opportunities and partnerships where God is already working. But the needs in those partnerships and mission opportunities are specific for the strengths and talents that God has given each of us. I love that this is a church of excellence. I love that this is a church of learning and of teaching. But the ministry that has captured both, as we say at Wilshire, my heart and my head, is the ministry of pastoral residency, the Pathways to Ministry program that has allowed us to impact the next generation of pastors by providing safe and supportive places for practice and for growing and for job searches. But in the process of developing that ministry, as a church, we changed. We became so much more aware of the broad church, moving away from just a focus on Wilshire Baptist Church. We began to understand that we were a part of a larger church, and we found that we had to grow in our giving. We had to underwrite the operations and begin the future endowment for the Pathways to Ministry programs. And we began to see in a real sense what it means to join where God is already working in the lives of young men and women. In my vocation, I have had the opportunity to work and volunteer at a local not-for-profit children's hospital for over 40 years. I am compelled by the mission of that hospital, and I recognize that we are able to serve that mission and achieve that mission only by the generosity of the giving of thousands of people. I guess it goes without saying that I give at the office. But there's something very different about charitable giving and giving, not what I call giving to Wilshire, but giving through Wilshire. My experience is that my giving, both at the office and at Wilshire, began from the same place, a place of should. But at Wilshire, that attitude began to grow as I recognized an attitude of gratitude, that all that I had been given to me by God, and even growing into recognizing that I didn't have anything, that in fact I just had temporary possession of those resources, and that God was intending to give through me, not to me. I also began from a point of giving something sometimes, growing to the opportunity of giving more often. And I saw that I began from giving what I could afford at the end of the month to giving joyfully at the beginning of the month what God has asked me to give. And I found that God always meets my needs. By that, I don't mean that God has made me prosperous, but God has prospered me. I'm excited about the future of Wilshire. I'm excited about what I see as the intentional investment in getting to know one another better, because there are more stories about God's work in our lives that we will benefit from learning. I'm excited about the growing appreciation that God's church belongs in the forefront of Christian advocacy for justice and for equality. This is a time like no other we have ever had. The eyes of the community are on this church right now. We have the opportunity to live and serve as a community that is being transformed by the Spirit of Jesus Christ and being a living testimony to Him. One of the mysteries of the church body is how it serves as the body of Christ in the world. All of us, bringing our strengths and talents, bringing our commitment to obedience with the very resources God has given us. That dramatically expands in its impact because of the Spirit of Jesus Christ. As to paraphrase George's recent statement, all of the resources are already here to accomplish God's next great work. Let's be all in for that.